Alright, so today we're going to talk about inferential language and how it's found in reading passages, okay? So we're going to kind of learn a little bit about context clues and how to use your own background knowledge, okay? So first we're going to start off with these pictures, and each one symbolizes something different. So you're going to realize that, okay? So the first picture is this one. Can you tell me what's going on in this picture or how he's feeling?
He's very angry because maybe he's a manager and somebody didn't do what they were.
Okay, that's true. So maybe somebody got a little bit mad and he had to take care of it, so he's getting a little frustrated, right? Alright, good job. What about this picture?
They're very happy.
You think they're very happy? Okay. So what else do you see in the picture?
They're doing smiling.
Okay. So you think they're very happy? They might be like on a trip, maybe? So good job. What about this one?
They woke up and they didn't find the mom and they're really hungry.
Okay. So they're really hungry because they look really hungry. That's the same emotion I make when I'm really hungry. I don't know about you, but that's the face I make. So then, what about this?
Sick and sad.
She's sad because she's sick. Maybe she can't go to school. She doesn't have some awesome teachers like you do, right? Well, how can you tell she's sick?
Because she's feeling her head and it's like the thing in her.
The thermometer. Good job. What about this one? This is our last one. What about that one?
Happy?
Yeah. What else could you be feeling? Can you see any other emotion in that? No? Okay. So you might be happy. Good job. Alright. So I made an anchor chart. And so we're first going to go over the definition of inference, okay? So inferring is using the text and your background knowledge to put the pieces together, okay? So basically what it's asking is, what do you think is happening throughout the story? Like using all of the clues, what do you think is happening, right? So, I'm going to put quotation marks up there. So let's see it both together, okay? So inferring is using the text and your background knowledge to put pieces back together. Good job. So I made this little chart and it says I infer by. So we're going to kind of go over some of the main things that you use to infer for a story, okay? So can you think of anything when you read a story and you're trying to figure out what the author wants you to see? Can you think of something maybe you think about when you're reading the story? What about the character? Does the character do anything? Does the character, like, do you think about that? Do you think about what the character does? Okay, so you think about the character's actions? So thinking. What else? You think about their actions, but so remember when we read the Little Red Riding Hood in class? So how do you think, when you read that, what were you thinking about Grandma?
He was a fox.
Hmm?
She was the fox.
No, the fox was the one that chased her, remember? So maybe
Worried?
So what's worried? Like,
Because he was taking a while for her to get there.
okay, so yeah, so but that's, worried is a term for what? We all have it.
Nervous?
Emotions. So how you feel. So you think about how the characters, so we're going to put this here because this is basically right here, okay? Now I'm just going to write feels. So we don't have to take up so much room, okay? So then there was also a lot of change in the story, right? So when you think about it, you have to think about how the character is handling that change, right? So that's also another one. How he handles change. Okay, so then when you also think about inference, there's something in the definition that's important when you infer something. Can you tell me what it is?
Text.
Well, yeah, when you read it through a passage, yeah, text is really important, but there's something else. Can you tell me what it is? Well, yeah. What about after you are?
Background.
Okay, so you need to think about something from your own or something you already know, right? So think about something you already know. So something you already know. So when you think about something you already know, what is that? So in this picture, do you go camping? Okay, so in this picture, the guys are going camping. But how would you know that?
Because they have a backpack behind the back.
Okay, so see, so like that. So that means because you carry a book bag, right, when you go camping? So you use your own experiences to understand that they're going camping, right? So using your own experiences. This one and this one are important, like, things to really think about when you're reading a text. I mean, all of these are important, but these two, something you already know in your what? Yeah, so they're the main part. So something you already know in your own experiences, so that helps you infer a little bit better. So we said how they handle change, but change could also be conflict, right? So when they have to handle conflict. And then, so in the story, people talk, right? So you need to think about what they're saying and how they're saying it, right? Like this guy. I mean, we don't know what he's saying, but I bet you it's not nice. Do you think that? So maybe figuring out what they're saying. So what a character says. So what a character says. So also when you think about inferring, I want you to think about this. So when you think of it, you use your schema, which is just your prior knowledge. To figure out inferences, okay? Alright. So now that we have that done, let's do the definition one more time, but can we do it in like a really funny voice? No? Alright, how about really loud. You want to try it? Alright, ready? Inferring is using the text and your background knowledge to put the pieces together. What do you think? Good job. So, now that we know kind of a little bit about how to infer and how to use that, and we kind of talked about some books, right, that you use inferencing, right? You infer stories. So, the I can statement today is that you can determine inferential language found in a passage, okay? And I'm going to actually write that on the board for you, so that way we can remember, alright? I'm going to put it right here. I can determine the inferential language Okay, so basically what that means is that we'll be able to figure out inferential language in a passage using all the nice little things we just talked about. Okay, so using our schema, right? Alright. So, now we're going to have some fun, okay? So, I have a chart that is right here, okay? And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the title of the thing that the activity we did today and how well you do it, okay? Sound good? Alright. And we're also still going to do the K and the G, so for things that you know and things that you guess, okay? So, first I need you to tell me again, what does inferential mean? What does inferring mean?
It uses the text and your background knowledge to put the pieces together.
Good job. So basically it's pieces together, right? It puts it all together for you. So these tools, using and finding inferential language in a story, is actually really helpful for you when you become older. So it kind of helps you figure out somebody's feelings. So if I'm sitting here like, you can figure out either I'm bored or I'm really sad, right? Or if I come up to you and I'm like, and I just give you an angry face, you know that I'm angry at you, but I'm not telling you, right? So it kind of helps to infer those feelings, alright? You can use something that maybe you saw or something that's on my face that shows my emotion or how I'm going to start feeling, alright? And that also helps you in the normal day when you see something bad happen to somebody, you can automatically know how they're going to be, okay? So, and this helps with stories and activities because then we automatically know what the author wants or what they want to show us throughout the whole entire story, okay? So, I'm going to ask you, do you know what the term theme is? Okay, if you don't. No? Okay, so theme is the main topic about the story. So theme is inferential. Did you know that? No. So theme is what the whole story is about. And inferential is trying to figure out what the whole story is about by using context clues. So Little Red Riding Hood, remember we learned a lesson from it, right? To never talk to strangers, there's a lot of lessons, right? So kind of going off of that, theme is using inferential because those lessons that were taught throughout the story, you have to prove it. And by proving it, you're inferring. Okay? So if I give you 2 facts and a lie, could you tell me which one's for which? Okay. So inferential texts are shown throughout the entire story, and you can see it. Inferential is described and explained, but not shown. Or inferential is the main point of the story. Can you tell me which one's a lie?
The third.
The third one, the inferential is the main point of the story. Are you second guessing yourself? Do you want me to read them again? Okay. So inferential texts are shown throughout the story, and you can see it. Inferential is described and explained, but not shown. Inferential is the main point of the story. The first one, so inferential texts are shown throughout the story, and you can see it. Good job. So that is the lie. So inferential is described and explained throughout the whole entire story, but it's not shown. And it is kind of the main point of the story. It's what the author wants to show you. So we're going to review inferential language by playing this game called Go Fish. But it's not normal Go Fish, okay? It's inferential Go Fish. So you have to explain these terms. So if I got flip-flops, right? I would go, you wear them on the beach on a really nice day, and in the summer, and they show off your feet. So you would automatically think of flip-flops, right? So I'm using my context clues to help you figure out what it is, okay? So we're going to put that back on the bottom, and we're going to play this awesome activity. So, here we go. 1, we get 5 each. 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. Alright, and then we're going to put these in the middle. And remember, if you don't have it, then you say go fish, and then you have to pick in the middle, okay? So, you can go first if you would like.
It's in the city and it's yellow.
A taxi.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have a taxi. When you're at school, they have a specific time to go out and do this. It's outside, it has swings,
Recess.
Slide. No, it's a specific thing. What's a jungle?
Playground.
Good job. Do you have a playground? No? Your turn.
It's yellow. It's in the city.
A taxi? No, I do not have a taxi. Go fish. Wow, good. You can play music on it. It's really old-fashioned. It kind of looks like a phone, but it's not. And Apple makes these. You can play music on it, you put your headphones in it, and you can carry it around with you. I mean, like describing it, so it's an iPod. So, do you have an iPod? No? Okay. Your turn, sir.
You can draw with it.
A marker. I do have a marker. I'm reading a marker. Alright, so it has lines, and it has paper.
Notebook.
Yep, do you have a notebook? That's good. Your turn.
It's in Africa. And it's orangish yellow. And it eats a whole bunch of stuff.
Like what kind of stuff?
Zebras.
Can you describe its physical features for me?
It has this like running around its face.
Like a lion? I do a lion. You can make videos on this, go on the internet on this, and you write papers on it sometimes. And in class you do some fun activities. Yep. Do you have a computer? Alright, your turn.
You get books from it.
A library? Nope. Go fish. You wear these in the summer, on the beach. Yep. Your turn.
It's raining.
It's rain. Is that what you said?
No, it's raining.
It's raining. Anything else?
Thundering.
Is it a storm? Is it a rainstorm? No, I do not have that. Are you looking at my cards?
No.
Your friends can get together to go to do this over the summer.
Swimming pool.
Yeah. You are looking at my card. Do you have it?
You go there, you see a whole bunch of animals, like chimpanzees and
The zoo? Nope, I do not have it. Go fish, sir. You can eat this during the summer or the winter. It's freezing and
ice cream.
yep. No, you don't have it? Sorry. Okay, good.
You read out of it.
A book. Did you not have a book? So this swims around in the ocean.
Shark.
Yeah. You're too good at this game. Like, the first thing I say, you automatically know what I'm trying to say to you. Alright, your turn.
Okay.
Oh, you have a match. The first to 5, by the way, automatically wins. So you're at 4, so you have 1 more to do. I have 2, I have 3 more.
Isn't there a great books?
The library. Do not have a library. So this man wears blue. He drives in a car.
Police officer?
Mm-hmm.
You knew like 2 decimals.
I did not. 3. Yeah, you're getting close.
It's raining outside. It's thundering.
A rainstorm. Still don't have it. Alright, you can play on it.
Playground.
Yep.
It comes in plenty of colors.
Markers?
They're cute when they're babies.
Big cat. You really grab that.
What is? I actually played
Whatever this one is. This is the sneakers. So, you won. So, good job. So, like, now you kind of know how to, like, describe words without saying it, right? So, we use that same thing in stories. Does that make sense? So, I want you to give me a fist of 5 on how well you think the Go Fish game went. You didn't even let me tell you what the 0 to 5 means. 0 could mean good. Just kidding. 0 from being the worst, 5 to being the best. Which one do you think you did? 5? So you think you understand maybe inferring words just a little bit better? Alright, well we're going to see, because now we're going to read a passage and like answer some questions while rolling some dice. Okay, so it's going to be another really fun, interactive game. So I'm going to write down this chart. That we did go fish, whichever color you want. You did go fish, and you got 100%, okay? Okay. So we've read this story before, but we're going to read it again, and this time we're going to look for a little bit more background knowledge. Does that make sense? So, can you tell me again what inferential means? Before we do this?
It's putting the pieces together of those.
So what do you use when you infer something?
Schema.
Versus what?
Your prior knowledge.
Good job. So, can you give me like a resemblance of what, or something that inference looks like? So we made a chart about how to find inference. So that's kind of what it is, right? So can you tell me what you think inference is? You can look on the board, you can...
What do you think?
Okay, so what you think, that's a good example. Maybe how the character feels, maybe their actions, stuff like that. Good job. So, if I give you this story, and we kind of pick out the inferential portions of the story, then we're going to do this roll and tell game, okay? And so basically the roll and tell is, what can you conclude about the story? What is the problem? What is most likely true about the story? Predict what will happen. How does the author feel about the story? And what would happen in a sequel to the story? Okay? So there's that. And there's our dice. And here's our story. It's the same story as we did for the literal, right? But we're going to use the inference. Our inferential knowledge on how to infer what's going to happen in the story, okay? So, I'm going to read the first one, and remember, you're going to read after me, right? We're not going to read that part. Okay, so Justin and Mary woke up early, even though they were vacationing at their uncle's lake house. The night before, Uncle Thomas told them about the foggy figure that haunted the lake. Justin and Mary were determined to see the ghostly creature before their vacation was over. Is it foggy outside? Mary asked as Justin peered out the window. Yep, let's go. Justin let go of the curtain and rushed to the door, Mary on his heels. It was only 5 a.m., so everyone else in the house was still asleep. As they crept through the kitchen to the back door, Mary sniffed the air. It had the faint scent of coffee and something sweet. So you want to read from the sheet?
She shrugged it off and followed Justin up the door down the back steps.
Well, I can't hear you. Can you read a little bit louder? Back step.
And out onto the boat dock. The fog had settled over the lake, making it impossible to see anything. Do you see anything? Mary asked, leaning forward for a closer look. Nothing. Do you? think Uncle Thomas was just trying to scare us with that story. Uncle Thomas did have a good imagination. He been telling Justin and Mary stories for years, but this was the first scary story. Mary had a feeling it wasn't made up.
How about I read? Mary shook her head. Remember what Uncle Thomas said? The foggy figure haunted the lake. We're on the dock. Maybe that's why we can't see him. The people in the story were in boats. You want to go out onto the water? Justin asked. Mary looked around, trying to find Uncle Thomas's boat, but the fog was too thick. Mom and Dad will be really angry if we go out onto the lake alone in the fog, Justin said. Mary shrugged. Maybe we don't have to go anywhere. We could sit in the boat while it stopped. That wouldn't be dangerous. Okay, Justin crept toward the end of the dock. He could barely see the outline of the boat. I'll go first. He carefully lowered himself into the boat and then reached for Mary's hand. Want to read this?
Mary climbed into the boat and sat beside him. She was getting nervous now that they were on the water. See anything? They looked around and gradually the fog began to lift. Mary turned around and screamed, "The foggy figure!" It was in the boat with them. Justin and Mary hugged each other in fear. But then they heard a laugh. Justin leaned
With the foggy figure. And then that's where we went. So I want to read that, the last one.
foggy figure.
Good job. So we did knock off some stuff to help us with the inferential, right? Alright. So here's your story still. So here's this. So I'm going to roll. You only need one dice. So I got 4. So can I predict what will happen next? I think that they're going to realize that the foggy figure isn't real, and maybe they'll get in trouble for being out on the boat, even though it stopped. Alright, so it's your turn. So go ahead and roll the dice. 3. What is most likely true about the story? So, in the story, you know how he tells about the ghost, about the foggy figure? So do you think that's true? Do you think that's false? How do you think it, why do you think it's false?
Because where we stopped, it said that Justin heard a laugh and it sounded like his uncle, so it probably was him.
Okay, so you think it's false because Justin heard a laugh, so maybe it's Uncle Thomas yelling at them for being on the boat? Yeah. Alright. No, you already answered that. So I got a 2. So what is the problem? I think the problem is that they believed the story that Uncle Thomas told them so much that they were influenced to sneak out of the house and get in the boat and try to find it themselves. I think that's what the problem is. 4. So what do you think will happen next? So I told you what I thought. So what do you think is going to happen next?
Their uncle might say get out of the boat.
Okay, so because you already thought that maybe because the uncle laughed, so maybe he's the one that's like, ha, get out of the boat, right? Alright, so let me see it. It's my turn. So I got a 1. What could you conclude about this story? I think that they're going to realize that Uncle Thomas just likes telling stories and that it's false. You got a 1, 2. So you have to answer the same question. What can you conclude about the story? And it can't be the same answer as mine.
Part of this is false because.
Well, no, it says what can you conclude about the story. So now it's false, but what can you conclude about it? So what's going to happen to them?
Probably going to get in trouble.
So they're going to get in trouble. Do you think they're going to get grounded at the end? Yeah? Maybe. 5. How does the author feel about this story? I think the author is trying to show some fear.
Because
Exactly. So you just found something to explain my theory of that they were scared. Now, what would happen in a sequel to the story? So it means if they rewrote the story to make a second one, what do you think would happen?
The characters are going to change.
Do you think the characters will change? So you don't think it'll be maybe about them, but maybe about somebody else? Good point. Okay. So these are like important questions to think about when you're inferring stories, okay? So you're going to think about what is the problem? What is the author trying to tell me? Can I think what's going to happen next before even continuing on? If I could rewrite the story, how would I rewrite it? If I could figure out a better conclusion, how would I conclude it? So it's by using your background knowledge and your experiences and how what the conflict is, what the character says, how he handles change, how they feel, and their actions. So you've explained everything that you answered these questions through the story. Did you notice that? You went back and you answered your questions using this. So using that, you automatically know how to infer. Okay? So doing that, and since we practiced it, by having you learn how to just inference single objects without having to say the word by playing Go Fish, and inferring from a story by playing a game called Roll and Retell, right? So now I'm going to give you some task cards. You did really good. So we're going to write Roll and Retell. We're going to write good. The X's mean good. So you did really good on that. So can you tell me one more time, what inferring means?
Putting pieces of your background knowledge plus your prior knowledge that equals inferring.
Good job. You did that really well. So using your background knowledge, which is your prior knowledge, creates inferences. And putting the pieces together helps you do that, right? Good job. So this isn't going to be an actual worksheet because I don't feel like doing an actual worksheet would be really good for inferences. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you these 10 task cards. There's no answer sheet with these ones, so we're just going to go over them together and we're done, okay? So there's 10 of them, and they all have different stories, and basically you're going to answer the questions at the end of them, and then we're going to see how well you did, okay? And you're going to highlight how you found that answer, okay? There you go. You can use the purple highlighter if you'd like. But when you highlight, make sure that it's just a single page, because it'll bleed through for the rest, okay? And you can use the board if you need help finding it. So it's right when you eat dinner. Did you answer the question? Oh, you did. Did I see you circle it? Are you good? Alright, so now we're going to go over these questions, okay? Alright, so let's lay them out like this. I want you to take a moment, alright? We're going to do a pen. Okay? You can tell the difference. You can't erase it. Alright, so in this pen, I want you to go with every one and then tell me which one you knew and which one you guessed on, okay? I want you to be honest with me. Okay? So you only guessed on one of them? It's really good. Alright, let's go through these answers real quick, and then we're good to go, okay? for my little lesson, and then we can go. Alright, so the king lost his puppy. He looked high and low. He called the puppy's name. It was no use. He sat on his throne to cry. Then he heard a bark and looked down. Then the puppy crawled out between his feet. Where do you think the king's feet? On top of the puppy? Where do you think the king's feet were? Where was the king's feet? On top of the puppy, on the floor, or in his throne? So you said on the top of the puppy. So you think his feet was on top of the puppy? Okay. Okay, so, but where else could his feet have been? So, it didn't actually be, but good try. So, Alex hurt his leg. He and his mom went into an office. There were chairs around the walls. There were things to read on the table. Where were Alex and his mom? So you said the doctor's office. Good job. Jack was on an egg hunt. He found one egg under a bush. He found another one by a rock. As he was walking, he tripped and fell. One of the eggs broke and made a mess on his t-shirt. Why did the egg break? It hit the rock, Jack fell on it, or Jack threw it? Good job. It hit the rock because it said what? Okay, so when he tripped, he got tripped by a rock, so obviously it hit the rock, right? Good job, so we're still three. Let's do these three real quick. Okay, so Julia came into the bus. She came into the house, thank you. She had been playing for a long time. Now she was tired. The sun had set. Julia went to take a bath and put on her pajamas. What time of day do you think it is? Afternoon, morning, evening, or morning? And you said evening. Because why?
Because the sun has set. Julia went to take a bath.
Okay, because the sun set and she went to go take a bath. So good job. Alright. Tammy wanted a cup. She reached and reached. She had to stand on the chair to get it. You can guess A, the cup was low, B, the cup was high, or C, the cup was missing. So you said that the cup was high. Why did you say that?
Because it said she had to stand on the chair to get it.
Good job. So you can guess what? What is Tammy?
Not high enough to reach the cup.
So she's
Small.
So she's short. Alright, Jeff tossed the toy to Amy. It bounced in front of her. She caught it and threw it back to him. This is a fine game for the two friends. What are they playing? Ball, jacks, or hopscotch? Ball. Is it because they threw it back and forth? Alright, we have these last four, man. Got this. So, Ray and his dad walked up the dark hill. There were no lights to be seen anywhere. They had stopped and set up the telescope that Dad carried. Ray pointed to a group of stars, and the telescope was aimed at them. When was this story happening? Evening, dawn, or night? And that's because you knew what evening and dawn meant, right? Okay, so obviously it's happening at night because also they're looking at stars, and stars only come out at night. Sam was halfway in his doghouse. He lifted his nose and sniffed the still air. The sky was changing from deep blue to yellow. Down the street, a rooster crowed. Sam yawned, got up, and stretched his long black legs. When is this happening? Is it a sunset, dawn, or during the night?
Sunset.
So how did you know?
Because it said deep blue. The sky changed to deep blue to yellow. The rooster crowed, and
That was good. Good. So because the rooster crows 2 times a day, right? In the morning and at night. And we all know that during the day the sky is blue, and when the sun sets it makes it a little yellow, right? So good job. Alright, so this is the one that you said you guessed at, right? So we're gonna kind of go through this. The bike skidded out of control. It was slammed against the sidewalk. The rider hit the ground hard. His pant leg was ripped. His knee was scraped and bleeding. He began to sniff. Why did the bike rider sniff? He smelled something funny. He was allergic. He has allergies. He was starting to cry. So, if you fall off your bike and you hurt your knee and you're bleeding and you start to kind of sniff, so what are you doing? If you fell off your bike and scraped your knee, what would you do? Would you be? So yeah. So sniff is just like another thing for crying. Okay? So it wasn't actually A because he didn't smell anything funny because there's no description of that, right? So do you think it was B or C? So you think it's C? Good job. Okay, so it was dark. Jack and his mom had taken a long walk near their house. They had gone with some friends. They used a flashlight to see the path and had a lot of fun. They roasted marshmallows when they got home. What might Jack be able to see if he looked at the sky? And he said stars because it's at night, right? Well, good job. Alright, so we're going to write on this little chart. Task cards assessment. Task cards. Assessment. So we're just going to write assess. And you got 2 wrong out of 10. So that's still really good. Okay? That's at least 80%. Maybe a little bit more than 80%. So you did really good. Alright. So to summarize basically what we did today, we learned about how to use inferences and how to find them in stories and how to describe things so that you knew what inferences actually were. And we learned how to comprehend maybe some inferential questions, right, that were being asked of you. So again, like I said earlier about inferencing and inferring things is to help you kind of find emotions in the real life. So if a friend looks upset, you know, like if they kind of look down and a little sad, you know that they're upset about something. So you know how to ask, right? So it's not just about reading and it's not just about passages. This also can help you in your everyday life when you become an adult like me. And the next, so it's important to infer that. So next time we're going to do, actually both. We're going to use both inferential and literal text together. So that will be fun. And I want you to actually do a turn and talk with me about what you had learned in this lesson and why you believe it's important to learn it. Okay? So we're actually going to write it down. Write it down right here. So, what do you think you learned? Can you tell me at least 2 things that you learned?
you can use your own experiences to make a difference.
So you can use your own experiences to make an inference. Can you tell me that? tell me one that you just off your head. What did you learn about inferences today? Maybe from one of the games that we played, maybe from a task card, your assessment. So details in that may be important to inferencing. So you said that the go fish kind of helped you a little bit more. So you kind of we already discussed it, and then we played the game, and then you were like, oh, okay, that's what this means? Yeah? Alright, can you tell me why you think it's important? So I'm going to keep this just so that way I can see what you learned. And remember, next time we're going to talk about inferential and literal both together. So it kind of seems like a lot, but I promise it's not going to be, okay? So you did really good today, and thank you for participating with me, alright?